During the final excavations on Oak Island, a frightening discovery was made. Once again, a remarkable discovery has been made, and this time it provides conclusive evidence that the Oak Island conceals wealth. During their concluding excavation of the C1 cluster on Oak Island, the Oak Island made an unsettling discovery. The team has been keeping a close watch on the progress in the hopes that any significant developments will bring them closer to the treasure chamber or offset vault they have been searching for so long. B4 sea shaft is nearly at its utmost depth of approximately 90 feet. This location is located just 5 feet to the north of Borehole C. They discovered what may be the remains of 15th century wooden structures. Significant traces of silver and gold were also discovered, leading to speculation about the original location of the money pit and the possibility of a conduit leading to a treasure chamber. Well, this frightening discovery at Oak Island during the final excavation appears to be more exciting than previously believed. How did humans in the 15th century use wood to construct such complex tunnel networks? I do not understand the purpose of this. The discovery of a tunnel at a depth of 90 feet is viewed as a significant indicator that they are closing in on the original location of the money pit. Each excavation increases the likelihood that precious objects will be discovered in the subsequent grab or scoop. Since the gold was discovered in the water, they believe it may have been transported to the money pit. The group unearths a few random timber planks, but the most significant discovery is a massive iron fastener. The craftsmanship's primordial nature suggests that it is at least a century old. The fact that it occurred prior to the discovery of the money grave leads them to the conclusion that there may be artifacts from that time period somewhere. One of the items is a hand-forged spike, which immediately becomes the subject of fascination. Given the significance of each prospective lead, the organization intends to investigate the influx. It appears crude, but it contains hand-forged raw iron and shows signs of age, making it a significant artifact that may cast light on Oak Island's history. At a depth of about 130 feet in the B4C shaft, the crew encounters difficulty after hitting granite. Due to time constraints, further excavation in the money pit area cannot occur this year, but information gathered from the 5 massive steel tunnels dug in the preceding months lends credence to the theory that the treasure sought after for more than 2 centuries is still buried somewhere beneath Oak Island. The team is aware of the difficulty posed by the funding gap, as well as the significance of technological innovation and the effective application of existing technologies in order to continue their investigation. We may soon learn more about the spike's history and significance thanks to Carmen's knowledge and careful examination of it. The iron spike discovered in B4C shaft led Carmen Legg to conclude that it belonged to a Middle Ages rock drill. The crew had discovered a few swages 2 years prior, and he concluded that they may have been used to sharpen rock drills. He connected the two by asserting that the swages were found in the same location. It is believed that the rock drill, which is utilized for both drilling rocks and splitting apart enormous boulders, has been in use for quite some time. The rock tool resembles those employed in medieval times. Its very presence inspires a multitude of intriguing theories regarding the money pit's history and the wealth it conceals. The group questions if this artifact provides additional evidence that they are approaching the legendary treasure. The rock auger is historically significant because it was likely utilized in the initial construction of the money pit. The prospect of discovering a concealed chamber or room enhances the appeal of further exploration. As they reflect on the new discoveries the crew has made throughout Oak Island, such as the stone-paved section in the marsh along the ancient stone road, they ponder who may be responsible for the Oak Island enigma. Are they possibly getting closer to determining who is behind this mystery? And specifically what is hidden within the money pit? Even as they continue their quest for answers, the Legina brothers are grateful for the unwavering support and rapt attention of their dedicated staff and audience. Given that scientific evidence indicates the presence of vast quantities of gold and silver beneath the surface, they have good cause to continue their search for the elusive treasure. As they continue to make new openings and discoveries that provide them with valuable new information, the crew remains optimistic regarding their overall progress. The discovery of the artisanal spike adds to their growing body of knowledge in this discipline, which was used to calculate the precise elevations of the tunnel. The group's intention to conduct additional research, including C-14 testing, demonstrates its significance. Marty Legina, Craig Tester, Gary Drayton, and blacksmithing expert Carmen Legg returned to the Institute to discuss the iron spike they discovered at a depth of over 100 feet in the B4C shaft. The enigma of Oak Island has evolved into a captivating tale, a perplexing puzzle whose mystique has only grown as time has passed. Their words, which emphasize their conviction that gold can be located on oak, exude confidence. During the height of piracy in the late 17th and early 18th centuries, it was widely believed that Oak Island served as a secure haven for pirates operating along the entire east coast of North America and in the Caribbean. This notion has existed since the beginning of island exploration. They pondered whether this was the location where a pirate commander had hidden his loot. As they proceeded deeper into the tunnel, however, water began to fill it. This was owing to the peculiar location of the island they were working on, which was above a glacial mound. Despite the fact that no treasure was ever discovered on Oak Island, the legend surrounding the purported location of the loot has been so captivating for the past 225 years that visitors have been making the voyage there. Over time, others began searching for wealth all over the island, not just in the money pit dug by McGinnis and his companions. However, what is the treasure casket intended to contain? As a young man, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who would later become the 32nd President of the United States, became intrigued by the topic after his father, who had business interests in Nova Scotia, provided details about the rumored wealth. This was the result of FDR's father's involvement in the province. The onset of the Second World War in Europe prevented him from traveling to Oak Island in 1939, despite his efforts to keep apprised of the most recent information about the island throughout the remainder of his life. In a similar vein, two prominent actors from the middle of the 20th century, Errol Flynn and John Wayne, funded expeditions to search for the Oak Island treasure. Despite their lack of success, they continue to unearth evidence that fascinates and confounds people in equal measure. Be sure to subscribe and enable post notifications for more timely updates on fascinating new discoveries. Numerous individuals have a variety of plausible and implausible hypotheses regarding the contents of the Oak Island treasure. The most prevalent and plausible explanation is that it is the plundered fortune of a notorious pirate who operated between 1660 and 1730, which is generally accepted to have been the golden age of piracy. Famous pirates and buccaneers frequented the rivers along the east coast of North America, from Canada to the Caribbean during this time period. Edward Teach, also known as the infamous pirate Blackbeard, was one of these individuals. Due to the high level of piracy that existed during this time, the governments of Spain, England, France, and other countries with a financial stake in the security of their commerce in this region were unable to prevent pirate attacks on colonial ships returning to Europe. Beginning with the Treaty of Utrecht, which ended the War of the Spanish Succession in 1713 and was signed by the main European powers, coordinated attacks on pirate ships put an end to the golden age of piracy in the Western Atlantic. The Treaty of Utrecht terminated the War of the Spanish Succession officially. The history of the money pit on Oak Island is shrouded in mystique. According to geology, the money pit was not an underground vault constructed by humans to hold wealth. The bedrock of the island is readily eroded due to its proximity to the ocean and groundwater. Sinkholes can result from the collapse of a network of faults and underground caverns beneath the surface. Despite this, the island's allure has attracted treasure hunters. The stories have provoked and fueled speculation regarding the crater's origins. A significant ship find alters everything. The Curse of Oak Island's 8th season centers on the discovery of a significant ship that could change the course of the inquiry completely. The gang discovers a polished piece of wood that resembles a handrail, which prompts them to surmise that it was once a section of a ship's railing that was attached to the surrounding stone road. This finding adds to the body of data that suggests the wetland once served as an open seaport. However, a large object is impeding their efforts and keeping them from going any further. The gang remains unwavering in their resolve to explore the marsh and learn what lies beneath its surface despite this obstacle. despite the fact that a significant ship finding has completely changed everything. One of the objects that the crew discovers is a polished piece of wood that resembles a railing. They believe it to be a fragment of a ship's railing, and that it is attached to the surrounding stone path. This would provide as another evidence that the marsh formerly served as an open harbor. They encounter a large item, though, which prohibits them from exploring further and learning more. They won't stop looking until they find what's hidden there, since the group is certain that the swamp holds the knowledge they require. During the 8th season of The Curse of Oak Island, a significant shipwreck is discovered and made public. The group finds a significant relic that has the power to change the direction their search will take, which throws everything into confusion. The find raises questions about the ship's history and purpose, while also giving the members new causes for optimism and excitement. The group is more motivated than ever to carry out their inquiry and uncover new clues that could ultimately unveil the secrets of Oak Island, as the mystery grows more baffling. A number of shipping logs were found by the brothers, providing proof that an armada of French soldiers reached Oak Island in 1746. The Duc d'Anville expedition, which was sent from France with the goal of retaking Louisbourg, may have been the source of the artifacts. One of the most thrilling metal detector discoveries on the show happened in the 1st season. Steve Zazulik discovered a copper coin of the Spanish 8 denomination. The object was probably moved there at some point in the 17th century. During the 2nd season of The Curse of Oak Island, metal detecting helped uncover more old coins. Gary Drayton found 2 Britannia coins from King Charles II's reign while walking along the shore. It was hidden beneath a layer of rocks, one of which had the year 1771 carved into its surface, and pyrite. When the crew inspected one of the coins found that season in the episode titled The 90-Foot Stone, they discovered what appeared to be a cross symbol on one side of the coin. The show had the name The 90-Foot Stone. The greatest degree of hope was given to the searchers by this specific treasure that was discovered on Oak Island in 2022 or before. Was it appropriate to utilize it in a financial institution? An episode from the 5th season of the show focused on one of the most significant archaeological finds discovered throughout the course of the series. Drayton and Rick Lagina found a solid lead cross at the seashore after bringing their metal detectors there. It was discovered after analysis that the artifact most likely originated in the 13th century. Additional investigation establishes a link between Oak Island and the Knights Templar in subsequent episodes. Another of Drayton and Rick Lagina's gems was uncovered with a metal detector in the 6th season's opening episode. To search for hidden wealth, they traveled to a region of the island that had not previously been investigated. They moved a big boulder, dragged it up from under it, and found copper in a well-preserved cartwheel 2 pence. Drayton uses his metal detector to focus on a signal, which Rick Lagina uses as a guide to find and unearth a jeweled brooch. Leaded glass was used to make the gem, and gold was utilized to make the other parts of the jewelry. This archaeological gem was uncovered thanks to the use of ground-penetrating radar. It was initially thought to be a crossbow bolt, but an authority on antiquities has speculated that it might have been a javelin, a weapon used by the Romans more than 2,000 years ago. The team finds a metal object in the 2nd episode of the 9th season that appears to be the object they have been looking for since the beginning of the show. Further inspection reveals that only a small fraction of the object is truly made of gold. Through each season, the show explores the exploits of full-time treasure hunters, and the secrets surrounding Oak Island only grow more complicated. For historical research, their findings made with metal detectors open up previously imagined doors, but you can get the same results with your own gear. Always make careful to get permission before searching for anything on someone else's property or on open space. It is widely acknowledged that the discovery of the island's money pit marked the beginning of the history of treasure hunting on Oak Island. The pit, often known as the money pit, is a human-made hole that is frequently assumed to be the location of the lost treasures. The story goes that in 1795, while on an adventure on the island, a group of boys around the age of 13 discovered a dip in the earth. They began digging since they believed it to be a fake hole, and as they dug, they found multiple layers of wood and other things. However, a mysterious flood stopped them in their tracks, filling the hole with water and blocking any further excavation. As soon as word of the discovery spread, treasure seekers from all over the world flocked to Oak Island to look for the loot. The Onslow Company, a group of financiers, organized the first orderly excavation of the money pit in the year 1803. Despite their best efforts, the gang was unable to reach the bottom of the hole, and as a result, they had to cease digging. Many various groups made attempts to unravel the riddles surrounding the island throughout the course of the ensuing century, but they were all in vain. The most serious of these was the flooding of the pit, which made unsafe and difficult further research in the area. The hole was also equipped with a number of intricate devices that, when activated, would force the pit to overflow with water and prevent access to the treasure. Please subscribe and enable post notifications if you want to learn about more exciting discoveries. Despite these challenges, the excavations continued, and the Oak Island Treasure Company was founded in 1861. This specific team was able to dig down to a depth of 90 feet before the flooding that happened in the pit once more hampered their attempts. The excavations were permanently halted in 1909 as the Oak Island Treasure Company went out of business. Since then, several other parties have made an effort to find the treasure buried on Oak Island, but the riddle of the money pit has remained unsolved to this day. The discovery of the money pit and the initial excavations on the island both had a significant impact on the history of the island and the ongoing search for treasure there. Despite the challenges and barriers that were faced, this is true. The 300 years that have been spent looking for treasure on Oak Island have not lessened interest in the mystery, despite the numerous difficulties and failures that have been encountered. A number of new organizations have stepped up to the plate in recent years with the goal of unlocking the island's mysteries. One of the most significant recent events was the founding in 2010 of the Oak Island Tourism Society, an institution dedicated to the preservation of the island's heritage and the promotion of tourism. The organization has significantly contributed to raising public knowledge of Oak Island and the treasure hunt. The group has also participated in a number of island-wide archaeological digs. Unusual force discovered on an unusual island. To learn more right away, simply click the video below. The curse of Oak Island has haunted humanity for centuries. Different minds have created different speculations, and some of them have even found physical evidence. So today, I am bringing you 3 wildest treasure stories about the island. The curse began to find different backings after the legend of Captain Kidd became a folklore, a notorious pirate who is rumored to have buried treasure on Oak Island. It is said that he placed a curse on the treasure to protect it from being discovered. Fast forward to 2023, June 7th, 2023. The Legina brothers made a significant discovery in their search for the Oak Island treasure with a new scanning tool called ground-penetrating radar. They were excavating in Smith's Cove, an area of the island believed to be the treasure's location, when they found a large stone slab buried 10 feet under the ground with strange symbols of 1 inch carved into it. The slab weighs around 1,000 pounds and is composed of limestone and about 3 feet broad, 2 feet tall, and 6 inches thick. The Legina brothers sought professional aid for interpretation because they thought the symbols on the slab had some significance despite being unintelligible. Sadly, thus far, their efforts haven't been fruitful. This is the first significant discovery in the area since they started looking in 2015. The brothers are relentlessly digging in the region in the hopes of finding further leads, since they are persuaded that the slab may contain a hint as to the whereabouts of the riches. Besides the stone slab, they have also discovered several other priceless things at Smith's Cove, including coins, wooden planks, and beams, among other artifacts, over the years. But that's not all. The brothers claim that these discoveries show a sophisticated flood control mechanism was in place to safeguard the jewels, bringing them one step closer to finding the treasure buried on Oak Island. And this time, they go on many different terrain and paths. On June 14th, 2023, the team discovered a broken piece of old metal, adding more confusion in this decade-old treasure hunt. The metal has a diameter of approximately 1 inch and is about ½ an inch thick. It is made of a copper alloy and has an illegible raised pattern on one side that shows a face or human form. According to the brothers, this metal object was part of a coin made in the 17th century, which is a significant hint that Oak Island's treasures were hidden there then. Although unclear, the experts think it to be a chunk of money. Who knows? On top of that, they struggled to explain the meaning of the coin's design. This metal chunk is the second most significant discovery in the area, which signifies yet another crucial development in the ongoing search for Oak Island's treasures. The lads continue to scan the environment intently in search of fresh cues. To them, the design appeared as an ambiguous face of a human. The metal item that was unexpectedly found 12 feet below the surface weighs barely 0.5 ounces. Moving on with the discoveries, on June 21, 2023, the Lagina brothers made another important discovery, an unusual little piece of wood. It was initially built from oak, which has a remarkable texture. According to the Lagina brothers, the wood could have come from a ship buried on Oak Island in the distant past. And this finding in particular is crucial because it adds evidence suggesting a ship buried the wealth on Oak Island, whereas it implies that precious cargo like gold or silver may have been carried by the ship. In an interview, the crew members said the piece of wood was discovered 15 feet below the ground's surface. Days after days, they were excavating in Smith's Cove on the island, which is supposed to be where the treasure is hidden, when they came upon a little ceramic shard that they believed to be from a jug. The ceramic object is 2 inches in diameter and 0.5 inches thick. It was formed of a substance that mimics clay and has a particular pattern on one side. In the pattern, a flower or plant was observed. The Lagina brothers claim the ceramic piece may have come from a jug used to transport wine or other liquids. This would prove that humans were residing on Oak Island in the 17th century, since it would show where the treasure could be buried. They have made several fascinating discoveries in their search, including several Roman artifacts. A lead sword is among the most important Roman artifacts that the Lagina brothers unearthed. And, to everyone's surprise, Smith's Cove is where the sword was located. The sword is assumed to have been manufactured in Italy and dates to the 1st or 2nd century AD, which is ornamented with several motifs, including a dolphin and a trident, and it is in generally good shape. The pottery fragment is another remarkable Roman artifact that the Lagina brothers unearthed. It was discovered in the island's Money Pit region and supposed to have been produced in France and dates to the 4th or 5th century AD. On the other hand, it was decorated with symbols, including a cross and a sundial. The brothers discovered several other Roman artifacts on Oak Island beside the lead sword and the piece of pottery. Coins, nails, and jewelry are some of these relics. Some people think that Oak Island was previously visited by Roman explorers because of the existence of these Roman articles. A reality television series called The Curse of Oak Island follows the hunt for riches on Oak Island. The brothers Rick and Marty Lagina, who have been looking for the loot for more than 10 years, are followed throughout the series. The Lagina brothers and their gang continued their hunt for riches on the mysterious island in the most recent episode of The Curse of Oak Island, picking up where the previous one left off. The crew concentrated on the marsh in this episode because it was the location of several intriguing artifacts they had previously discovered, including a lead cross and a stone with the Latin inscription 70 feet below. They were able to locate several abnormalities in the swamp using a range of techniques, including sonar and ground-penetrating radar, which they suspect might represent the remnants of buried buildings. One of the most intriguing oddities is a big rectangular object around 70 feet below the surface. The crew is excited to dig into this to see what they uncover, since they think it may be a treasure box. The crew must not harm what they seek, since the marsh is challenging and dangerous. Eventually, they excavated a tiny area of the item, but could not see what was within. In a later episode, they will have to go back to the swamp to carry on their hunt. Yet, the crew made modest strides on other parts of the island. They started digging a new shaft close to the marsh and continued to drill in the Money Pit location. The crew made some progress in their hunt for riches, even though they made no significant finds in this episode. They are optimistic that the forthcoming episodes will include something important. As more proof that Oak Island has long been the location of covert operations, or more precisely, clichés, the presence of a nearby treasure, the researchers also discovered traces of earlier human activity. That's not it, though. The real deal was the map they found on the island, which dated back to 1647. It was a French copy, with the labels hatch, valve, and anchor, suggested significant connections. In particular, it suggested that the money may have come from Africa, raising the intrigue around Oak Island. The brothers are convinced this map will point them toward their lost money. The series has followed their journey for over a decade, and it will be interesting to see if they can finally solve the mystery. The story goes that in 1795, while on an adventure on the island, a group of boys around the age of 13 discovered a dip in the earth. They began digging since they believed it to be a fake hole, and as they dug, they found multiple layers of wood and other things. Yet, a mysterious flood stopped them in their tracks, filling the hole with water and blocking any further excavation. As soon as word of the discovery spread, treasure seekers from all over the world flocked to Oak Island to look for the loot. The Onslow Company, a group of financiers, organized the first orderly excavation of the Money Pit in the year 1803. This specific team was able to dig down to a depth of 90 feet before the flooding, which happened in the pit once more, hampered their attempts. Meanwhile, the excavations were permanently halted in 1909 as the Oak Island Treasure Company went out of business. Since then, several other parties have tried to find the treasure buried on Oak Island, but the riddle of the Money Pit has remained unsolved to this day. Oak Island's mystery never ceases to astound us. But what precisely? Let's find out. John Stemmer supports the official Quest of Oak Island website, where you can read a fascinating article about this region. Laird, the expert, believes the ring of stones they discovered could be the foundation of a circular structure. Interesting, yes? When investigating the structure of Lot 5 in minute detail, concentric rings of stones are visible from approximately 100 feet away from the shore. An insightful contributor by the name of Barbara Kopak made an insightful point. She hypothesized that this structure was a kiln, possibly a lime kiln. Its design resembles an ancient Roman furnace discovered in Europe. It is important to observe that Barbara's experience as an architectural artist enabled her to make this intriguing connection. Its proximity to the shore enhances its attractiveness. John Stemmer and the Quest of Oak Island Facebook page utilized the incredible Muon drone to capture photographs. When considering the likelihood that it is a kiln, exciting possibilities emerge. Barbara Kopak's intriguing observation connects the connections, suggesting that this structure may have been a pipe-making kiln. The possibility that it was used to produce pipes piqued people's interest. Given the rumors of a flood tunnel system and the existence of a hydraulic mechanism, pipes would have been required for elevating and lowering the vault. Historiographically, the location of a kiln is crucial. Typically, they were situated away from communities to avoid disturbing residents with pollution. Lot 5 meets this requirement perfectly. It is also essential to be close to water and fuel sources. Fortunately, Oak Island provides both abundant wood for fuel and simple access to water for dilution of clay. It must be stressed that this is all conjecture, but it is intriguing to consider the possibility that Oak Island structures are related to ancient furnaces. In the slideshow, you can view a variety of kiln structures, including European and Roman-era examples. Are you not in agreement that the similarities are quite striking? Next, we will consider the shape. The notion that it might be a kiln was predominantly prompted by its appearance. Note the manner in which it expands. This may imply that there is more to learn than we are currently aware of. The debris-covered ring is clearly visible in a photograph. Now, this detritus could serve as part of the foundation, similar to the stone wall on Lot 26. Alternately, filling in with detritus could be the result of a construction project on Oak Island. If they had been digging tunnels, they would have needed to dispose of a great quantity of waste, and this area would have been ideal. When examining another image of a Roman kiln, be mindful of how far back it extends. Please take note of the large number of small fragments arranged in long rows to form concentric rings, which resembles what we observe on Oak Island. If this is a kiln, it may resemble this type, and where they are currently excavating may be the primary chamber. Remember how, in one of the most recent episodes of Curse of Oak Island, they made a hollow sound by striking a boulder at the bottom of the hole. They may still be required to reach the firebox area. Those fragments with the hollow sound could be protecting the fireplace after all. Currently, we are still determining how the temporary superstructure was constructed. It could have been built with rocks or something entirely distinct. However, this is not the only event that occurred at Oak Island. Astonished that the entire world. There is still more. Both the stone wall on Lot 26 and the pine tar furnace on Lot 15 contained fragments of charcoal. That indicates the presence of fire. They also discovered a piece of pottery, which provides additional insight into what the object may be. The images depict numerous kiln structures discovered by the University of York throughout Europe. They date back to the Roman era, proving that this technology is not new. Immediately, focus on the kiln on Lot 5. Observing the proximity to the water is intriguing. Regardless, let's dissect this and have some fun. First, visualize the mysterious setting in which we find ourselves. This location may be optimal for a covert operation. What if we told you a kiln could be hidden there? A kiln indeed. Consider alternative applications for this kiln before imagining a group of potters creating exquisite pottery. Our minds are racing and we are thinking about pipelines. Pipes indeed. This excellent hypothesis proposes Oak Island may contain a system of flood tunnels. What is this then? This is supported by evidence such as the valve and the cavity beneath the trapdoor. In this case, things are becoming increasingly intriguing. Perhaps intelligent infrastructure is used to construct the underground tunnels. They may be developing a hydraulic system to control the flow of water. However implausible it may seem, let's experiment with it anyway. It is prudent to use pipelines instead of open tunnels. The island's rugged terrain was only marginally suitable for tunneling. If water were to flow through certain areas, they might erode or collapse. Why then not utilize pipes to maintain a constant flow without endangering a collapse? At this point, things become even more pleasurable. Let's investigate the origins of pottery, my companion. We are discussing a technique that has existed since Roman times: clay pipes. Before, these pipelines were formed around a wooden structure, but it was difficult to connect them seamlessly. They ingeniously employed the potter's wheel, which originated in ancient Samaria around 3500 BCE. Incredible, right? Nevertheless, there's more. We should talk about glazing. You know, the protective layer that prevents water from permeating clay and causing damage to ceramics. Roman glazing techniques were extraordinarily inventive. They utilized salt, lead, and tin, invented later, to create an impregnable, complex covering. At this point, things begin to become somewhat chaotic. A pottery instructor asserts that adding saline or ocean water to clay causes its surface to bloom. The kiln firing process produces a beautiful salt patina. Can you imagine the ancient Romans using ocean water to produce these beautiful orange peel textured pipes? Mind-blowing. Let's discuss the pottery object discovered by Laird on the island. Laird believes it dates from the first half of the 18th century, but who knows? It could, after all, be a conduit. What is it? Though it does not appear to be a conventional straight pipe. Not every conduit needs to be straight. This component may be included in a conduit system with a radius of 12 to 14 inches. What is this then? Similar to the redware discovered on Oak Island, this object was crafted from clay. It could be a piece of the puzzle. Let us introduce you to the Romans once more. They were skilled at installing pipelines. Instead of using a single large conduit, they created these intricate pipelines comprised of numerous smaller pipes. It enabled them to regulate water flow and pressure adequately. A unique archaeological image of a Roman pipe reveals the sophistication and complexity of their systems. What is the future? Oak Island may have had a comparable system. You are in store for one more astounding realization. Are you still familiar with the Great Quadrilateral? Recently, essentials have begun to appear in unexpected places. Additionally, they were discovered at the Israeli castle of Belvoir. Are you serious? These nails, found throughout Notre Dame, date to the 1160s and were used to secure stones together during construction. Discuss prehistoric engineering techniques. Then, what does this signify for Oak Island? Well, it's all speculation. We are merely investigating the options for fun. But here's a wild idea. What if these materials discovered on Oak Island were used in an architectural marvel? They may have been part of an intricate structure that required precise stone binding. What is the future? Everything fits into the Oak Island arrangement. Let's mention the stone wall they discovered before we conclude. Even though it is not a wall in the traditional sense, it resembles a circle of pebbles in that it is filled with trash. What is this then? Underneath it, charcoal was discovered. There is still a great deal of data to locate and integrate. Subscribing to the channel will provide you with access to more blues from the world of mysteries. As we conclude our investigation of Oak Island's secrets, it is important to note that all hypotheses remain speculative. However, the investigation of potential connections between historic hydraulic systems, Roman engineering, and ancient furnaces adds an exciting dimension of intrigue. As the mission continues, more and more Oak Island mysteries are revealed. We will meet you there in a minute if you click on the video links that appear to find out what discoveries by explorers astonished the entire globe.